All right, welcome back. Ever been through a divorce, a separation, and then tried to figure out who the frig you are afterwards? We've done the same. I have spent 2 hours in a grocery store staring at the meat department, wondering if I like pork chops. Left the store with a box of wine, not a bottle, but a box of wine, a brick of cheese, and left almost in tears because I had no idea who I was, and it took grocery shopping to help me figure that out.
So you realized that you had, for 20 years, you had not been buying anything that you liked. It was, my kids like this, my husband likes this. And there was
Right?
really no thought
No,
to what you liked.
had people pleased myself into a corner and did not know how to get out of that corner. And I hadn't even realized that I had done that. Because let's face it, relationships are about compromise. But it should be a little bit more when I think of compromise. If you're a people pleaser, in my mind, my compromise was okay, you do whatever and I'm just along for the ride.
Well, it was easier because then it would mean conflict. And as people pleasers, we hate conflict.
Right. Which has changed a lot. But it took me 2 hours in the grocery store to figure that part out. And it was really wandering around the store, just like, do I even like that? I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was the most ridiculous thing. I've not eaten a pork chop since.
Awareness. You weren't aware of it till then.
Right. And
That's crazy that just a task of going, I mean, it's not crazy.
It is crazy.
But that's good. That you were aware of it that quick, going to the grocery store by yourself. Because you didn't go by yourself.
No, it was the first time in 20 years I had gone to the grocery store without a partner, without a child, and without a list of things that they wanted. It was never, okay, I'm going to make a list of things that I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It was a list of what will people eat,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not what I will like.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of how the entire relationship went. And that's how I kind of lost myself. Was it became about what do they want to do? What do they want? Because I wanted them to be happy.
Well, it was less conflict that way.
Yeah. And I truthfully wanted the kids to have things that I didn't have. I wanted them to be super happy. In order to do that, if I had to give up or do something that I didn't care for, all right, let's do this. You want to go fishing at 5 o'clock in the morning? I used to like that. Now I didn't, but okay, let's go. It makes you a happy camper. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go ride Thomas the Train? I hated Thomas the Train. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever. My boy loved it.
So, 20 years is a long time to lose yourself. I did a rinse and repeat. I got married twice for like 5 years each. So I didn't have that 20 years time to lose myself in that way. Right. I lost myself in other ways. Still a people pleaser, still reducing conflict at any cost, pleasing everybody. But yours was pretty dramatic. As far as when you, for lack of a better term, set free.
Yeah. So I had a 20-year plan. I knew that I wanted to leave 20 years before I left. And in between there, I thought, okay, I could make this work. And again, trying to make it work by giving of myself what I considered compromising. And I used to tell myself all the time, I'm making a conscious decision, because this is how I rationalized to myself, was staying in a relationship that I didn't want to be in. I am making a conscious decision to be as happy as I can with the people who I have surrounding me. My kids were surprised. I was a great.
You were really good.
I was good. I was really good.
And I know that when we were both in unhealthy relationships for, lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
we were very much victimhood.
Right. Yeah.
And we're not that anymore.
No.
And that took a while to get out of.
Yeah. So I've been separated for 8 years now. And I'm still learning. So it is not a quick fix. It is something that you have to work at. You have to. Not a huge therapy person. I don't go for years and years and years, but I did go for 2.
I do.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Did I go for 2? I went for a while. I went for a while. Enough to where my therapist would put his head in his hands and go, Tammy, get off Craigslist.
I think everybody has their own journey, and if you're not invested in therapy, then there's absolutely no point. And I don't think it's for everybody. I mean, that's your own choice.
Right.
It's your own choice. Sometimes you have really good friends. Sometimes you have other support. Sometimes you white knuckle it. I don't know. I like that term for some reason. Sometimes you read.
You know what was good for me? Sorry, I totally interrupted. I'm a list maker. Now, I lose my lists every single time, but I'm a list maker. Now, I will write them by hand, or I will type them out, I'll put them on my phone, or I just run them in my head. But I made lists of who do I think I am? Who do I want to be? Do I like mother freaking pork chops? Notice I didn't say the word fuck.
I have no words. Continue.
But it was interesting to see where that evolved.
Mm-hmm.
I actually still have some of those lists.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I
whatever works, man.
It's
a journey, not a destination.
Absolutely. And it is still a journey. And I think if you know that it is always a journey, I'm not going to have an end result. Well, end result is death.
Okay.
Fact. But the goal is that I am always evolving. I'm always growing. I'm always looking at, am I doing things that I enjoy in life? Am I finding things that bring me joy? And if it doesn't bring me joy, get the frig out. And that's even with, that about every 6 months, I look at stuff that I have in my house and I get rid of stuff.
I wish I had that. I'm a clutter monster. Oh dear. We're so opposite in so many ways.
We are.
Which I feel that we complement each other.
Absolutely.
But we definitely call each other out, we have long conversations about in-depth, and I think we're kind of our own each therapy support.
Absolutely.
Because we may have had different relationships, but we went through similar emotions and difficulties and tough times.
Right.
And we've come through to the other end. I would say that I'm much happier than I was 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Just by being with me. And I think as you get over 50, I think I've seen it where they kind of realize more.
Yeah.
So the kids are gone. And now who am I?
Right.
Because you and I were never good at having our own thing. Now, a healthy relationship, a lot of people do. They have their own thing. Kudos to you, man.
Absolutely.
You're probably not watching this. And that's okay. But that's not something we had. Not something we had. And for me, the empty nest syndrome was a really big deal when my son left for college, because I was already divorced.
Right.
Had lots of regrets, still in victimhood, therapy, trying to get through.
Right.
And then he was leaving, and whew.
Now what?
It was, that was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do?
Right.
I don't have my son to have all these activities around, because he was very social and has lots of activities. So.
And all over he was all over the place. He seemed to be on the go. And you seem to be on the go a lot as well, because we're taking the kiddos everywhere.
or going to an event. But that was our identity. And
yeah, I was mother, I was wife, I was football mom, I was volleyball mom. And when I did my first list of who am I, those were things I wrote down, which were things that I did, not who I was intrinsically as a person.
I remember when we started practicing gratefulness. How long ago was that?
I think it was maybe 8 years.
I think you're about right.
Yeah.
And I remember that I had started writing down what am I grateful for, because it really helped ground, and you know, I'm not as consistent now as I should be.
Right.
But I was dragging you into my activity.
Dragging me along to mental wellness.
And
biatch.
You poor thing, you honestly at that point in your life could not think of one thing you were grateful of. And because I'd kind of read a little bit, I was a little prepared. Not that I expected that from you. I kind of I mean, a little bit I did, but not to the level. And I said, okay, let's start with your breathing. I'm grateful that I'm breathing. But it was tough, and you've come a long way with that. But that was like you were so
I think that was
deep.
The darkest that I have ever been. Because my question when you said grateful that you're breathing, I was like, but am I? But am I?
And I think you did push back in your own little way. I'm like, oh dear, Tammy, I'm very worried about you.
Yeah, and that is not me. I am normally a fairly optimistic person, maybe a little bit more realistic than.
Okay, pessimists always say that they're realists, because that's something we definitely have in common. But okay.
But no, so that was actually a really big change in my life when I started to be able to find the little things. And yes, at that point, breathing was a little thing.
But it was, you had to start somewhere.
You do. And now I could probably list off 3 things.
Oh.
The whole 3
Come
things.
on! You're such a liar.
Oh my goodness.
You'd be able to have a whole list.
Yeah, I could.
You could, right?
I absolutely.
Do we need to check that after this video?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll check after the video.
All right.
I think one of the big things that I became grateful for was giving myself grace. Because beforehand I thought that it was just, number one, I didn't deserve grace. Because I'm the one that chose to leave the family.
Oh yeah,
Holy moly!
You were not necessarily supported in that decision.
So that was
Except
a rough
for me,
one.
I supported you.
You did.
But it was tough.
It was tough. So learning to give yourself grace, I think, is the first thing that you need to do.
Yeah, and I mean that's a lifelong battle for me.
Yeah.
Reminding myself to give myself grace. I think that we're harder on ourselves than we are on anyone else. I could be empathetic to pretty much almost anyone.
Yeah.
Ask my
for
son.
sure.
Ask my son. He finds it irritating. But not myself. I have to check I would never treat other people the way I have self-talk about them.
Do you think that's more of a mom thing, a female thing, or?
That's a really good question. I think it's a human thing.
Yeah.
I think in general that we're hard on ourselves. I think as nurturers and moms, maybe women may have a harder time, but honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to assume that.
I'll assume. It's moms. Moms, because we're caretakers, we're givers. And we take care of ourselves last, which is not always a healthy thing. So maybe it's just the unhealthy moms.
Yeah.
Have I met a healthy mom?
I'm sure there's some out there.
I would like to know what a healthy mom looks like. Internally, what are they feeling?
Well, what kind of verification would you need? Because you can't look at them on social media. I mean, it's almost like you're going to go to their house and spend time with them.
Just let me sit in the corner and watch.
Like an interrogation.
Let me just watch
maybe
you.
that's not the right thing to do.
Take notes.
I know they're there. I know there's healthy people out there, Tammy.
Absolutely.
We might not attract them. I don't know. We might not attract
That's a
healthy
whole
people.
nother story
I know.
of what are we attracting.
So I think that if we want to end this at some point, because we could go on for hours, I think that giving yourself grace, knowing that we made it through, because I know a lot of women who have not made it through. There are some pretty bad situations and they think they can't get out.
Right.
Reach out, get support. But it's not impossible.
Absolutely.
And you can do it. We've done it. It's hard.
It is hard.
It's really hard, but it's better on the other side.
100% better.
It was worth all that pain.
Oh my gosh, I am the happiest that I have ever been. Are there things that I want to work on? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, till the day we die. I have the best relationship with my son I've ever had.
Yeah.
I think you do too with your kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're adults. We're learning each other again because one of the biggest things that my son was so frustrated with me about was he's like, I feel like I don't know you because you've lied for 20 years about who you are. Yeah. That was a gut punch.
Oh yeah, a lot of gut punch, honest, authentic conversations with our kids that were hard.
Yes.
But has brought us closer. And a help to alleviate and kind of come to terms with guilt and regret on choices that we've made. But once again, so worth it.
Absolutely.
So worth it. You can do it.
Right. 100%. And you can't put value on those difficult conversations with your kids, with your family, with the folks that support you.
Yeah.
It's holy moly. I now know.
Oh dear. I think I'm afraid of what she's going to say. Go ahead.
I now know I don't like pork chops. Nor do I like boxed wine.
Oh, okay. I think that's good.
That I could have just at that point
Just cheese?
Just
cheese?
Cheese.
Just the cheese.
Just cheese.
I think your food choices.
Cheese and anti-diarrheal.
Okay. Well, Tammy once again
No, it would be
has found
laxatives.
a great
It would
place to stop the
Cheese and
video.
laxatives.
Okay. Great.
Cheese and laxatives.
All right. We'll see you later. You always got to end it with something so incredibly inappropriate. I love it.
Oh, absolutely.